This is an Ellis Mowers and More small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's repair, we are now, we're on part 3 of this Cub Cadet LT1045. I got this mower for free last fall, so I've had it probably a good 8-9 months now. When I originally got it, you already saw part 1 and 2. When I originally got it, it had a intake. It was one of the valves was too tight, and so it was pushing and not getting enough compression, and pushing gas out the intake and all that stuff. Not the first time I've seen that on these Kohler Courage engines. I fixed that. The mower had a cracked block, very common again on Kohler Courage engines. One of the bolts was sheared off the top of the sump because they had worked themselves loose, because these like to vibrate everything off. In part 1 and part 2, y'all saw me refresh the mower, clean it up. We got the deck hole in the deck welded and a couple of other things. And through 2 parts here, y'all saw me do attempt to get the engine to where it would not leak any oil. The thing runs like a top. It runs amazing, and it's sitting right here actually. But the crack is a little bit too much to, what am I trying to say here? The crack is a little bit too much to where the JB weld that I originally put on it didn't fix it. What I wanted to do, it's on the seat back there. I bought some high heat JB weld. It's like a steel stick type, and you put it on there. I wanted to put that on there to see if that would fix this, and then I got to thinking this lawnmower is too nice to have an engine with a cracked block on it. So we're going to table that. I hope y'all enjoyed the first 2 parts of me trying to do that. We're going to potentially come back to this engine whenever we have time. So maybe a while. But I figured this mower is way too nice to have an engine that I've tried to cobble together with a cracked block and things along that nature. We can repair that block, put it on a cheaper mower maybe here in the future. We'll see. I have an engine for this. We're going to do a Kohler to Briggs and Stratton swap on this thing so that we have something reliable, and I don't know if it'll necessarily match the mower, but it will be should be a lot more reliable than a Kohler Courage with a cracked block. This mower will probably bring good money because it's in really good condition. I'm hoping to get about $900 for it because it also has the bag. In this video, I'll stop talking here in just a second. We're going to take an engine off of this John Deere that you kind of see on this side of me. We're going to put it in here. So let's go ahead and get started on it. So here's the donor machine, John Deere LA115. I got this in a trade deal probably about 3 months ago. This was a running and cutting machine right before I got it, and then the deck stopped working because it's just, you can see all the welds and it cobbled together, and one of the welds for the one of the idler pulleys broke in the bracket, so it was eating belts and just not mowing right. Use that transmission for a donor, put it on a cobbled together John Deere LA1045, somebody put a bunch of like E140 parts on it or something along those lines, or D140, D170, something like that. And that's where the transmission went. If I find another transmission, I might resurrect this thing because it's really just the deck. And the engine, the reason why I want the engine off of this as opposed to any other engine that I have out there is because this has the high output stator with the voltage regulator setup already built into it. It's a 19.5 horsepower Briggs. You have your fuel pump and everything right where it needs to be. So this should be a direct, just like I take this off, I put the new the new one on, or put this engine on there. We've already taken that engine off. Put the new engine on there and just be done with it. Hopefully. We may have to sort out a little bit of wiring. We'll see what we end up having to do here. Depending on how the little 6-pin connectors are. I'll double check to see how those are. Usually they're the same for Kohlers and Briggs on MTDs. I just have to use the 6-pin to this Briggs engine in order to get it to work. Like I said, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's that way. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get everything situated so that I can just take this thing off right here. Should only take a few minutes, hopefully. And we're going to drop it into this Cub Cadet. And hopefully we're going to have a running mower by the end of the day today. This thing needs to get out of the garage. So, now's as good a time as ever. Let's do it. Alright guys, engine is out. That's awesome. I'll clear everything out here. Like I said, the only thing we got to figure out is the exhaust. I'm going to see if I can find something that'll work for this machine. And we'll keep cruising on here. We shouldn't be actually too much longer here, as long as the wiring and stuff is correct and good for this. So here we go. Alright, so the engine is in. It's just 4 bolts. I didn't bother time-lapsing it or anything. Just because assembly's not quite as glamorous on these. Wiring wise, I cross-checked the Kohler here, and everything that I see looks like it's plug and play for this thing. So that's going to be great. Kind of figured so, but you'd always just want to double and triple check because you don't want to get screwed over. So that's kind of where we're at there. I've already put the starter on. I will put oil in it. We got the battery sitting here ready to roll. I bought this battery in 9 of 22, if it shows you how long I've had this. It's been a few months. So yeah. PTO switch is gonna, or PTO clutch is about to go back on. One thing I did have to do, because that pulley was on so tight, is I had to drill holes through the pulley. I messed it up a little bit getting it off. So with this mower being as nice as it was, there was no way of getting it off apart from heat and pulling it and WD-40. I ended up just getting a new pulley. This was a little costly. Can't remember exactly how much it was, but if I remember, I'll put it in the description. That way, if you need it, you're doing an engine swap. The one thing, and all I got to do is slide it on. This shaft on this engine is really loose, so that's good. Not loose, but like easy to slide things on. One thing I got to figure out is how to route this exhaust. That is the one thing I've got to figure out here. And once I get that figured out, then we're going to be pretty home free, I think. So let me sort that out. I will put this pulley on, put the drive belt on. It's really easy. Just put the drive belt on before you slide the pulley all the way up, and it should stay as long as there's enough tension on it. We have the PTO clutch that we have to line up to put back on. It's a little hard to show y'all how to do. We might break the lift out if we have to in order to get it on. But everything else I think is pretty self-explanatory. Alright guys, so I have debranded the engine when it comes to branding it as John Deere. Found a Briggs and Stratton little sticker to pop on here. Don't really have anything for this, unfortunately, but it looks a lot better than, it looks like it's more like supposed to be in here than a John Deere engine. 19.5 horsepower. This one had a 20 in it, and it had a 46-inch deck. 20 horsepower Kohler. This 19.5 horse will be just fine. You're losing a half a horsepower, but still be plenty. Exhaust wise, that's really the only thing we got to sort out here, guys. got to sort out the exhaust. And one idea that I have some exhaust pipes and stuff, and if I need to, I can weld. But one of the ideas that I have is related, and I've done this before on a MTD, is I have this Craftsman exhaust here, and a lot of times this will fit. It just kind of butts up against the front end a little bit, so I may just have to bend this pipe out just a little bit. We'll see what we end up having to do here, but we're pretty close, all things considered. It's just a matter of putting oil and stuff in it now to test it out, and I want to get the exhaust right before I actually test it out, knowing that this engine runs, and knowing that this mower runs, drives, and cuts. So let me sort this out. It looks like I got to take a couple of things off here in order to get this thing off the machine. Maybe just these 8mm on the side. We might retrofit it while we're here, so let me grab the items that I need. Just should take a second here. $10 mil. So that, let's see if we can just shove it down underneath here. What I'd like to do, this should be plug and play if it works, but a lot of times it'll hit right there on the front. Yeah, so it hits the front end. So what I'm going to do is just kind of take it and bend this out a little bit, and we'll be able to fit this on here, because what happens is this bolts up to the valve cover gasket on the or under the valve cover gasket on these machines. So it's self-contained. I don't have to worry about bracketry and all that. I can put that bracket back on. I just need to kind of make a provision for the exhaust to push out the front. And once we do that, I think we'll be okay. So let me work on this a little bit, and I'll be back. We'll see if we can mock this thing up. We are pretty much at the point of starting it now. There wasn't a lot that I had left to do, but I had to do a lot. And the main part of it is figuring out this exhaust. I'm not a fabricator by any means, but what I've done is I've taken some pipe and I had to weld a little bit of a curve and add a little bit of a pipe right there to get the current muffler to work. It's probably going to leak a little bit, but as long as it's not leaking ridiculous, it's fine with me. Everything is kind of buttoned up where it needs to be buttoned up, hopefully, from what I can tell. I double gasketed it because I used a V-twin. I didn't want to cut a nice pipe for a single, so I used a V-twin, and combined with the two gaskets, hopefully it'll be okay. Let me put the air filter back in. Hopefully this thing will crank up and run for us. I do need to get some gas in it, so actually let me pause the video real quick. So hopefully we'll give it a few seconds of cranking and this thing will kick over for us. foam to it, see if it clears up a little bit. How about that though? So I got a little bit of oil to burn off. I'm gonna go cut the backyard to get the deck back on, get the hood back on, and give the engine a little bit of a wash. We'll see how she does here, y'all. I'm hoping that everything turns out all right. Like I said, throw a little bit of seafoam in there, let it run a little bit better than it currently is. That oil will eventually burn itself off. That's from the old valve cover. We're not leaking really bad on the pipe or anything like that, so it's very reasonable. I'm pretty pleased with this. This would have been a 1-hour job if I didn't have to weld that pipe, exhaust pipe together. Custom exhaust, how about that? So let me finish. I would really like to cut the grass tonight because I really want to get it listed tonight so that it would sell hopefully this weekend. So let me do that, and I'll be right back with y'all hopefully when I have everything finished and ready for sale for it. Alright guys, so you know when you get a little bit ahead of yourself and next thing you know you're done and you forgot to record the video and the mower sells? This is what happened here. Y'all saw this machine run. I cleaned it up. I didn't like the way that it ran, so I ended up putting a different carburetor on it. It ran much better after that. Just wanted to give y'all closure to this Cub Cadet video because I know a lot of people were interested in it. What was I going to do with that Kohler Courage? Was I going to keep it in there? I'm not. I'm going to keep it for a future project. Maybe it will see itself on another machine soon. I just don't know at this point. It runs really good though. That's the kicker with it. It runs really good, but leaks. So if I can get the leaking to stop, get that crack to where it's sealed up pretty good, I think we'll be all right. We'll revisit that at some point, maybe years down the road. Here is the machine, all cleaned up, just so that y'all could see it. Hopefully y'all can see it pretty well. And ended up selling for good money. I got a trade on it too, so y'all might see that in the coming video as well. I really do appreciate y'all watching, staying along with this journey of the decision-making process that I was on this video. I don't do a lot of 2- and 3-part videos much anymore, just because didn't have a lot of people that stayed for all of them originally. So now that we've got a little bit bigger audience, and you may see a little bit more coming up. The next video coming up will be a 2-parter on a generator welder that has a lot of issues with Kohler V-twin, command V-twin problems. And so we got that coming up for you next on the next video. But thank you all again for watching. Thanks for hanging out and staying along with me. And this machine took months from start to finish, like some of them end up doing. Y'all take care. Again, I have product links in the description below for items that you may need for one of these machines, and the Hipastore.com link if you need anything off Hipastore.com. Get a little bit of commission from both of those. Thanks again. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Take care.